Connecting with our ancestors can change our lives in surprising ways. From their trials and accomplishments, we gain faith and strength. From their love and sacrifices, we learn to forgive and move forward. Our children become resilient. We gain protection and power. Ties with ancestors increase family closeness, gratitude, miracles. Such ties can bring help from the other side of the veil. Remember the demographics of heaven. There are more on the other side of the veil than on this side. As more temples come closer to us, please offer those waiting for temple ordinances opportunity to receive them.
Often in the temple, as we engage in family history research, we feel promptings and have impressions from the Holy Ghost. Occasionally in the temple, the veil between us and those on the other side becomes very thin. We get additional assistance in our efforts to be saviors on Mount Zion. Several years ago in a temple in Central America, the wife of one of our now emeritus general authorities assisted a father, mother, and their children in receiving eternal covenants in the sealing room where the temple mirrors are located. As they concluded and faced those mirrors, she noticed that there was a face in the mirror that was not in the room. She inquired of the mother and learned that a daughter had passed away and accordingly was not physically present. The deceased daughter was then included by proxy in the sacred ordinance. Never underestimate the assistance provided in temples from the other side of the veil.
Searching our kindred dead isn't just a hobby. It is a fundamental responsibility for all members of the church. We believe that life continues after death and that all will be resurrected. We believe that families may continue in the next life if they have kept the special covenants made in one of the sacred temples under the authority of God. We believe that our deceased ancestors can also be eternally united with their families when we make covenants in their behalf in the temples. Our deceased forebears may accept these covenants if they choose to do so in the spirit world. In the great vision in Kirtland Temple, Elijah the prophet appeared to the prophet Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery and committed the keys of temple work and the sealing power into Joseph Smith's hands. This filled Malachi's prophecy that Elijah would be sent to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the children to the fathers, lest the whole earth be smitten with a curse. So what does this mean? To turn our hearts to our fathers is to search out the names of our deceased ancestors and to perform the saving ordinances in the temple for them. This will forge a continual chain between us and our forebears, eventually all the way back to Father Adam and Sister Mother Eve. The process of finding our ancestors one by one can be challenging, but also exciting and rewarding. We often feel the spiritual guidance as we go to the sources which identify them. This is very spiritual work because we can expect help from the other side of the veil. We feel a pull from our relatives who are waiting for us to find them so their ordinance work can be done. This is a Christ-like service because we are doing something for them they cannot do for themselves.
I want to bear witness, and my witness is true, that the work for the redemption of the living and the dead is divine. It is a keystone of our religion. The work performed in the temples stays the judgments of God from smiting the earth with a curse. It is not unusual, therefore, that the prophet Joseph would say, "The greatest responsibility in this world that God has laid upon us as individuals is to seek after our dead." The prophet Joseph taught that you and I are to become saviors on Mount Zion. We are to gather, build temples, seek after our dead, and perform the vital ordinances. This work welds eternal links that bind us to each other and to our fathers. We are exalted as family units. The prophet Joseph said, it is necessary that a welding together of dispensations should take place from the days of Adam even to the present time. It is our duty, counseled Elder John A. Widsoe, to secure as complete genealogies as possible, to discover our fathers and mothers back to the last generation, to connect, if it may be possible, with Adam, our first father upon the earth, a duty which we cannot escape. There are great promises to those who do this. All who diligently search realize that help comes, often from the other side of the veil. You see, they are organized and working there at least as well as we are here. Elder Melvin J. Ballard testified that the spirit and influence of your dead will guide those who are interested in finding those records. If there is anywhere on earth anything concerning them, you will find it. And Elder Widsoe said, I have the feeling that those who give themselves with all their might and main to this work receive help from the other side, and not merely in gathering genealogies. Whoever seeks to help those on the other side receives help in return in all the affairs of life. I testify that that is true. This testimony is echoed by thousands of humble Latter-day Saints whose labors bear witness of this truth. Elisha's words have been vindicated. Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them, the enemy.
Those who thoughtfully consider the work inquire about those names that cannot be collected. What about those for whom no record was ever kept? Surely you will fail there. There's no way you can search out those names. To this I simply observe, you have forgotten revelation. Already we have been directed to many records through that process. Revelation comes to individual members as they are led to discover their family records in ways that are miraculous indeed. And there is a feeling of inspiration attending this work that can be found in no other. When we have done all that we can do, we shall be given the rest. The way will be opened up. Every Latter-day Saint is responsible for this work.
When we gather our family histories and go to the temple on behalf of our ancestors, God fulfills many of these promised blessings simultaneously on both sides of the veil. Similarly, we're blessed when we help others in our wards and stakes do the same. Members who don't live close to a temple also receive these blessings by participating in family history work, collecting the names of their ancestors for temple ordinances to be performed. President Russell M. Nelson, however, cautioned, we can be inspired all day long about temple and family history experiences others have had, but we must do something to actually experience the joy ourselves. He continued, I invite you to prayerfully consider what kind of sacrifice, preferably a sacrifice of time, you can make to do more temple and family history work. As you accept President Nelson's invitation, you will discover, gather, and connect your family. Additionally, blessings will flow to you and your family, like the river spoken of by Ezekiel. You will find healing for that which needs healing.
In an epistle written over 150 years ago, Joseph Smith stated, The saints have the privilege of being baptized for their relatives who are dead, who have received the gospel in the Spirit through those who have been commissioned to preach to them. Those saints who neglected in behalf of their deceased relatives do it at the peril of their own salvation. Through further revelation to Joseph Smith and subsequent prophets, there has come an understanding of and the provision for temple work and the family history effort that supports it. Every prophet since Joseph Smith has emphasized the imperative need to provide all ordinances for ourselves and for our deceased ancestors. I testify that the spirit of Elijah is touching the hearts of many of Father's children throughout the world, causing the work of the dead to accelerate at an unprecedented pace. But what about you? Have you prayed about your own ancestors' work? Set aside those things in your life that don't really matter. Decide to do something that will have eternal consequences. Perhaps you have been prompted to look for ancestors, but you feel that you're not a genealogist. Can you see that you don't have to be anymore? It all begins with love and a sincere desire to help those beyond the veil who can't help themselves. Check around. There will be someone in your area who can help you have success. This work is a spiritual work, a monumental effort of cooperation on both sides of the veil, where help is given in both directions. Anywhere you are in the world, with prayer and faith, determination and diligence, and some sacrifice, you can make a powerful contribution. Begin now. I promise you that the Lord will help you find a way.